San Francisco, a city wrapped in fog and secrets. Below its polished skyline lies a darker world of ancient loyalties, fragile truces, and blood-soaked honor. At the center of that underworld stand two titans, the Chinese triads and the Japanese yakuza. For years, these organizations maintained a tense peace, cold handshakes, calculated diplomacy. But peace is temporary where pride rules, and in the shadows, something stirs. His name is Rogue. He is a myth, a whisper in the criminal world, a ghost with no allegiance. He doesn't speak, he doesn't warn, he kills, efficient, silent, unstoppable. Governments have tried to track him, intelligence agencies tried to label him, but no one really knows who he is or what he wants. 3 years ago, FBI agents Jack Crawford and Tom Lone cornered him during an arms deal gone wrong. There was gunfire, chaos. Rogue took a bullet and disappeared into flames. His body was presumed destroyed. Crawford and Lone returned home thinking it was over. But a week later, Lone's house was firebombed. His wife and daughter were killed. The scene was brutal. No survivors. Crawford arrived too late, watching the smoke rise, the horror already done. Lone was among the dead. At least, that's what the FBI believed. There was a funeral, a closed casket, a partner broken. Crawford never truly recovered. The pain, the guilt, the failure, it all festered into obsession. He became consumed with the idea that Rogue wasn't dead, because the murders hadn't stopped. They had only gotten more precise. Now, after 3 years of silence, Rogue returns, but not like before. This time, he doesn't hide in the shadows. He walks openly into the world of crime, playing the triads against the yakuza, offering each side just enough to keep their war breathing. A triad smuggler is found dead in his own warehouse, throat slit with military precision. A yakuza enforcer dies the next night, burned alive in his car. The fingerprints? None. But Crawford knows the style. The kill signature is always the same. Crawford is reinstated, but he's not the same man. The once controlled and analytical agent is now driven by something darker. Revenge. He reviews the footage, the ballistics, the patterns. Everything points to Rogue. But something isn't right. The targets, they aren't just criminals. They're men connected to older cases. Cases that Tom Lone worked on before he died. Crawford stares at the files. One victim was a witness who walked free due to a technicality. Another was rumored to be on the payroll of dirty agents. Is Rogue delivering justice? A possibility grows, insane yet persistent. What if Rogue isn't Rogue at all? What if someone took the name? What if someone had a reason to dismantle both empires? Crawford reopens old case files. There are too many coincidences. Meanwhile, Rogue continues to infiltrate both sides. He smiles at the triads, makes deals with the yakuza, and behind every handshake, a knife waits. The war is just beginning, and the ghost is real. quiet and respected head of the Triads. It's not an invitation, it's a test. Rogue presents the severed finger of Chang's own lieutenant. No words, just an offering and a threat. Chang accepts. Across town, Yanagawa, the Yakuza boss, watches a warehouse burn. His daughter asks if it's the Triads. He shakes his head. He knows better. This is someone else, he mutters. Someone dangerous. Rogue continues his silent campaign. He eliminates key figures from both organizations. Always fast, always clean. A Yakuza financier is gunned down in a penthouse. A Triad arms dealer disappears on a shipping route. No trails, no mercy. The FBI recovers a casing from one of the scenes. DNA is extracted from a trace of blood on the bullet jacket. The result comes back partial, too degraded for a match. The fragments resemble an old profile. Tom Lone. Crawford is stunned. He double-checks the records. The autopsy, the casket, the death report. It was all too clean. There was no visual confirmation. No DNA. Just a burned body presumed to be Lone. He digs deeper. Several of Rogue's victims had ties to Lone's personal life and career. One had threatened Lone's wife before her death. Another had worked as an informant who later turned. These weren't hits. They were retribution. The idea becomes unavoidable. Tom Lone survived. He killed the real Rogue. He took his identity. He returned from death to burn the world that failed him. Meanwhile, the criminal world tears itself apart. The Triads blame the Yakuza. The Yakuza suspect betrayal within. Rogue feeds both sides lies, manipulating egos and vendettas. Then, the power shifts. Chang is assassinated. One sniper shot through bulletproof glass. Flawless. The Triads crumble. Yanagawa takes control, confident in his dominance. But Rogue is already 10 steps ahead. He kidnaps Yanagawa's daughter, not to harm her, but to protect her. In an abandoned loft, he sits with her. She stares at his face, his eyes, his silence. "You're not Rogue," she whispers. "You're Tom Lone." He says nothing, but the truth has already spoken. She tells Crawford, "I know it's him. I met him when I was a girl. It's the same man." Crawford's hands tremble. He spent years chasing a ghost, but that ghost had a name. Storm rolls across the bay. Crawford receives coordinates. A final meeting place. The shipyard where the first ambush occurred 3 years ago. Where Rogue was killed. Where it all began. He goes alone. The docks are quiet. Fog hangs thick over crates and rusted machinery. And there, standing at the edge, waiting like a memory, Rogue. No guns, no backup, just 2 men. One passed. "I knew you'd come," says Rogue. "I had to," Crawford replies. "You owe me the truth." So the truth comes. Tom Lone survived the fire. He killed Rogue with his bare hands, took his identity, plastic surgery, voice suppression, isolation. He became the very monster that destroyed his life to kill the rest. Justice system failed, he says, so I delivered justice myself. Crawford looks at him, torn. You became what we hunted. Number Y became what no one dared to be. Suddenly, a motor roars. Yanagawa and his men arrive, heavily armed. You played us, he snarls. You turned us against each other. I didn't start your war, Lone says. I just ended it. Gunfire erupts. Crawford and Lone fight back to back, like old times. Bullets scream, bodies fall. In the chaos, Yanagawa tries to escape. Lone chases him down and ends it. One bullet. Clean. Final. Silence returns. The dark burns behind them. Smoke. Ash. Memories. You know they'll never stop hunting. Crawford says. I know, Lone answers. You could come in and face trial. You've already faced judgment. With that, Lone disappears into the fog. A ghost once more. Crawford files a final report. Subject rogue, untraceable, presumed deceased. But across the world, whispers remain of a man who brings death to the wicked, of a name that isn't a man, but a myth. A myth born of fire, forged in silence. This was war.